So I want to ask you a question. How willing are you to pay the price to achieve the goal that you have set for yourself? Because what I see with most people, and I've experienced it myself as well, that we oftentimes believe that we are ready to do what is necessary to accomplish our goal. Because we have romanticized the idea of the idol we look up to, who went from being broke to being rich, to having nothing to having everything, maybe having all the girls that he wants, having all the cars that he desires, living the life that he wants to live, being able to travel to whatever kind of place he or she wants to travel to, being able to feed our families in a way that is super amazing. But first, they had nothing and they couldn't do all of that until they worked really hard to make that happen. And so we have this idea that, okay, if we do this, we're going to accomplish it. But what most of us underestimate, including me, is how brutal it actually is and how challenging it is for us to go through that, experience. And so I've experienced this recently. I've spent the last 7 months working a minimum of 12 hours every day, 7 out of 7, every day of the week, while I'm working a full-time job, and next to that, working on a project and a course that I'm doing for my full-time job. At the same time, I'm married. At the same time, I'm also building my online business. And I'm doing that for 7 months straight. And for the last week, I've been off. And I got 2 weeks off in total. Off of work, off of doing pretty much everything. And the first 3 days of being off, I went to Amsterdam with my wife. We went there to regenerate, to connect, to have a fun time. And so we did have a fun time. And at the end of the trip, on the last day, when I woke up in the morning, I was sick as hell. And I had difficulties with driving home. Eventually we got home, and when I was here, the days that followed up until Saturday, which was yesterday, I realized I was incapable of doing work. I couldn't be disciplined. I couldn't get myself to do anything. My thoughts were negative. I was left. Is it incompetent? I don't think incompetence is the right word. I was left crippled. That's the right word. Crippled to get anything done. I couldn't get any work done, nothing. And that isn't typical for me. I can be quite consistent. I can be quite disciplined. When I have to be, I can do the things. That's no issue for me. If there's something that I don't like doing, I'll just do it anyways. But this time I couldn't. And why is that? I'm sleeping more, but because I got sick, and it was a little flu. It was nothing special, just a little cold. Not even a flu, a cold. Snotty nose, runny nose, a headache. My lungs felt weird, I had to cough. There was this tingly sensation inside of it. And I had to cough randomly. When I was walking outside, my eyes were burning. My nose was runny. But I couldn't breathe through my nose, so I had to breathe through my mouth. I was out of breath. I felt miserable. Not something that is typical for me. I started asking myself the question, why is it that I am in this situation right now? Why is it that I cannot do the work? And that's when it hit me that I am paying the price for what I have done these past 7 months. And so, because I was sleep deprived, because I wasn't eating so well, because I was optimizing that I had the most time in my day so that I can put in the most amount of work in, high leverage work, the sacrifice was that I sacrificed on my health. And my immunity dropped to a point that whenever I did get rest, which I didn't in the past 7 months, I needed little to set me off and turn me sick. That is the price I pay for the sacrifice I made. Now, do I hate it? It's kind of a mess that it happened, but I'm willing to go through that again. I'm willing to make it happen. I'm willing, after these 2 weeks of having a holiday, and in these 2 weeks, I'm open to play video games, I'm open to watch movies, which are things that I normally don't do. Things that I'm like not a fan of doing throughout the week when I'm working or anything. But right now, I am allowing myself to have that period of intentional rest, to come back to my senses, to recharge my batteries, and to go very hard for the next season and basically next season of life, which will be another 7 months of me just working ruthlessly. Now, one may think that this is not healthy. One may think that this is not good. It's subjective. Because the question is, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it just for money? Am I doing it just to survive? Am I doing it just to be better in life? No. That doesn't motivate me enough. That doesn't get me going. And I thought about it this morning. And I was asking myself, why am I actually doing this? Why am I actually going hard? Why am I actually willing to pay the price for that, what I'm doing? And it wasn't always at the top of my head. I've been telling myself, yes, I'm doing it for my wife. I'm making sure that the family is fed. I'm making sure that we can have a good future in life. But no, it's actually not really that. There was a deeper layer that I'd actually forgotten about that has been driving me. And now that I'm aware of it, I'm very confident that it will drive me even harder. And it's the purpose that I have behind of the work that I do. It's not about the money. It's about the impact that I can have in life. And I'm willing to sacrifice myself for the people who have been in a similar position as I was in the past. And so who was I in the past? I used to be, about 4 years ago, I used to smoke weed every day. I smoked weed so much that I couldn't get out of the chair that I was sitting in while sitting inside of the garden of my parents' house. I would sit there until 12 at night when I had to wake up at 6 in the morning and go to my job. I would watch Netflix, watch YouTube, just waste my time. And every day would be the same while I had the aspiration of becoming my greatest self, of building a business, of being a musician, of just doing the things that I told myself that I wanted to do and keep my promise to myself. And make sure that when my parents looked at me, that they didn't see me as a disappointment. But I couldn't. Because my negative thoughts and my current state of life and the way that I had let my life become had tainted me. And it was weighing heavy on my heart. And I thought that I couldn't move forward. And I thought that I couldn't get out of it. But I still tried. I still pushed forward. I faced the inner demons that were inside of me, which was the fear that I had for facing the consequences of a decision that I had made, which was back then to date someone that I didn't love. And that spiraled me down into being in a very dark hole. And weed was my way of coping with that pain. And I know what it's like to be in that pain and to not be acceptant of yourself. And it hurt me. And my decisions were being influenced because of it. And I want to be an example to people who are just like me, who are ambitious, who want to make something out of their lives, who want to show to themselves that they can be their greatest selves, who can live out the lives that they have dreamt of, that they can be of meaning, that they can be of value. Not only look at the people who are at value and who they idolize and who they admire, but actually be that themselves. And not in an egotistical way where you are like full of yourself, but in a way where your life adds meaning to the life of others. And this is not something that money can give you. Don't get me wrong, getting money in exchange for this is amazing. But the money will fade away, but your impact won't. At least that's what I believe. And I got confirmed this to be the case by yesterday. So yesterday I'd received a message from a friend who I've helped get his very first client in a business that he wasn't sure he was going to be able to do. And he wanted to do it. He believed that he could do it, but he couldn't do it because he had certain limiting beliefs holding him back from being able to do it. And his actions weren't set up straight. But what happened is I gave him the value, he asked me questions, I helped him forward, he got the results. And now yesterday he messaged me telling me that he's going to get off of the platform that we're on, which is called School, where I have a community and like we're active in the community back and forth. He told me he's getting off of the platform because of certain responsibilities that he has in his life, and all respect goes out to that. But there's one thing that he shared with me that no money can have me experience that feeling. And it was, he told me that he's very grateful for the things that I've shared with him, for the way that I have shown up, that, and mind you, this is a guy who's double my age. I'm 28, he's double my age, or close to double my age. He could be my father, who told me, you are the only person I've met that got me to develop the hardest in my life. And that hit me quite deep. And it's, you can't explain what kind of fulfillment it gives you. It's no fulfillment that I've ever gotten from getting a paycheck. Yes, getting money is nice. Getting rewarded through money is cool. But it doesn't change anyone's life. You can survive. Yes, and survival is the beginning of everything. And so in this world, we need money in order to survive. But after survival comes fulfillment. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Once you have the bottom things achieved, food, shelter, sex, friendship, love, we have self-actualization and then self-transcendence. And self-transcendence is the point where we go do something that is beyond ourselves. And I'm not there yet. I'm still at self-actualization. I tell that honestly. I'm not at the point where I can fully focus on self-transcendence. I'm still focusing on, okay, how can I make my life better? How can I make it work? How can I survive even better? So yes, income is important. That's why I want to build a business. But fundamentally, the purpose behind of it matters way more, because the last couple of months I've been thinking about the money only, and it made me empty. And I started thinking and questioning everything about myself and questioning about my life. Like, is this really what my life has amounted to? Just working for money? Just working to increase the financial capacity that I have? No. It's not that. It is, what did I do? What got me to start this in the first place? What got me on YouTube in the first place? I've built up a channel to 800 subscribers. I have made money online. I have made money through my job. Am I the richest? No. But what has always gotten me to move forward, and it was purpose and it was impact. And luckily I got reminded of that this morning, which most likely my subconscious took out of from the experience that I've had yesterday of the message that I received, and knowing where that guy came from and to where he is right now and to the beautiful thing that he has accomplished, to him making that decision and him sending me that personalized message. That brings meaning, that brings fulfillment, that brings purpose. Motivation to keep going. It gives me a reason to do this. Now, there's a price that one has to pay in order to be able to do this. And it's the price of the insecurity that you will face when you show up, the doubts that you have, the limiting beliefs that you face, the amount of nights that you can't sleep because you're overworked or you're overcaffeinated, that you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Not because you slept well, but because you're stressed out. And you can't sleep again. Your alarm didn't even go off, but you can't sleep because your body needs to get going because of all the stress that's building up. Having to work your full-time job while on the side also wanting to build up the business. Still having to show up for your wife. Still having to pay the bills. Having a responsibility at your job and you want to be your best self and you want to show up and you want to do a good job. Because if you're someone who takes himself serious, you want to be able to do those things. It's not easy. But it's the price one has to be willing to pay. And it's the price that the greatest people that we admire have gone through. The hero's journey, they pay that price. Those who got there paid that price. Most people are not willing to pay that price. And I also told myself, like, I'm willing to pay that price. I'm ready to do it until I started doing it. Until I started working. Like, I've never worked as hard as I've worked in these past 7 months. My life has never been as busy as it has been right now. I've never made as much progress as I did. And I always feel like I don't have that much time. And I do not have that much time. And even with the decreased amount of time that I have, I've made more progress than when I did have a lot of time. Why? Because when I started this, my intention was set straight. I thought about family, I thought about purpose, but I thought initially my purpose was the family only, but it goes way deeper. And I didn't know it at that moment. And now I do, and now I realize it. That this has been playing all along. Because being able to provide for my family is something that I wanted to do. But being able to show other people that they can do it as well matters more. And so, are you willing to pay that price? And yes, you may say that you do. I definitely did say that I do. And I had questions while I was sick, like, am I willing to do this again? I tried working, I couldn't work. Nothing. There has never been a time in my life where a flu or a cold would take me down so badly that I'm not even capable of doing anything. Just lying on the couch that's behind me and questioning everything about life. But now that I got better and realized that if this is what I get out of it, it's worth paying that price. Because at the end of the day, I'll die anyways. We all die. That's not going to change. If there's one thing that's guaranteed, is death. Is that a bad thing? No. Life is subjective, and it all depends on how you want to look at it. And what's good or bad is subjective too. What matters is when we die, did we live up to being our greatest self? Did we push ourselves as hard as we could? And did we do that with the intention of creating a better world, even if it didn't work out? So be it. We tried, and we tried to make it happen. And we want to seek peace within that, and we want to make sure that it eventually becomes a reality. But it has to be peace within being able to tell ourselves that maybe we won't get there. And so the focus won't be about eventually reaching that end goal. It will be about being present with the path that we're on The goal keeps us moving forward. But we want to be aware of that, what we do. And be aware of the purpose that we have behind of it. So that's all I wanted to share with you all. I want to end this video with a lovely thing that I keep telling myself. And I want to share that to you as well. And that is, always remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today. And I'll see you in the next one. Alright? Bye-bye.